Batra Daf Yod Amud Aleph, 7 lines down. Continuing the same conversation regarding tzedakah aniyim. This is the same question Trunus Rufus Harasha, very bad man, asked Rabbi Akiva. If God loves poor people, he doesn't feed them himself. Because we need zechiyot to, and therefore we need to give tzedakah. Opposite. It's it'll have the opposite effect. It'll send you to Ginam. Why? I'm sure the Chamashal, I'll give you an example. What's the comparable? A human king who was angry at his servant, and threw him in prison. He said that he made sure that it said, no one feed him or give him anything to drink. One guy goes and gives him food and water. When the king hears about it, of course he'll be upset. You're called servants. So you have the same thing. So why are you, the servants, feeding people who obviously God they create to be poor? I'll explain to you the opposite. A human king got angry at his son, threw him in prison. And his anger, he commanded no one feed him or drink him to drink. And the guy went and he fed the son, the prince, drink and give him food. Of course, the king will be happy that he given son the guy a present. We're called sons. We are considered sons of Hashem. So you're called sons and slaves. So it sounds like when you're doing the will of God, then you're called sons. When you're not doing the will of God, you're considered slaves. And now at the current time, he's saying, you're not doing God's will, therefore you shouldn't give charity at this time. He says no. Rabbi says no. Pasuk says, when will the government confiscate money, like we said, Ha'idna now. The Kamar, and it still says, hello, paros mecha, make sure you give poor people bread. So you see, we always have to give tzedakah. Rashi be shalom. It's like a person's income is set from Rosh Hashanah. So to a person's losses are his subtractions are also made from Rosh Hashanah. Therefore, if he has goodwill, good fortune, then the losses will be only via tzedakah. Lo zahab doesn't have, then it'll be confiscated by the government. Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai had two nephews. And he saw in a dream that they're supposed to lose 700 dinar that year. So therefore he kept on convincing them to give tzedakah. Shakami looked tzedakah, and he took a lot of tzedakah. There were only 17 dinarim left. When Yom Kippur came, the government confiscated. Don't be afraid, you're not going to lose any more money. The kids, these nephews get nervous. What's happening to us? He says, they took only the 17, and nothing else. They won't come back. I saw this happening in the dream. So the nephew said, okay, so why don't you tell us outright to give it tzedakah for all 700? Why would I have some of it confiscated? He said to him, to the nephews, I said to myself, I want you to get guys to do the charity lishma and not just you don't lose. Rav have a sleep without a god. Rav was climbing a ladder. His foot slipped on the ladder. And he almost fell off and died. Almost. He said, okay, now if that would have happened, what would the punishment been for? That's like sikila, and that's for people who do avodah zarah and mehalel Shabbat. So he's wondering why he almost died that way. He says, so this rabbi told him, Papa, maybe a poor guy came to you and you didn't give him charity. Like we saw the story earlier with Papa who did not give money. Tanner Brother says, whoever moves the eyes away from giving tzedakah, as if he does avodah zarah. Tiv, teach you what Malalan of the over there. it's referring to Avodah Zarah. Afkan was it over here, a person doesn't help the poor, is as if he's doing Avodah Zarah. And I'm Rabbi Zarbin Kriyasi. Kol tzedakah v'chad Yisrael osim b'olam hazeh, all the tzedakah and kindness that Bnei Yisrael does in this world, shalom gadol, pratim g'ulim Bnei Yisrael avihen v'shmayim. It creates peace and angel defenders between them and Hashem. Shnei Pasuk says, Kol amar Hashem atavu bet marzeach. Chesed, when it says the word chesed in that pasuk, zuk has referring to kindness. Rahamim zuz tzedakah. Rahamim is referring to tzedakah that Bnei Yisrael does. Hashem will give peace. Tanar b'domer. Givlat tzedakah. Givlat tzedakah shemekarevet et geula. Tzedakah is good because it brings the geula. Shneimar. Kol amar Hashem shemru mishpat v'azut tzedakah ki rovai yeshuati lavu v'tzkati lehigalot. Hu Yamar, he also used to say, Asad v'im kashim nevru b'alam. 10 strong things were created in the world. Har kasher, not strong, but barzel mechatecho, iron can cut it. Barzel kasher, or mechatecho, iron is strong, but fire softens it. Ur kasher, mayim mechabenato, fire is strong, but water can extinguish it. Mayim kashim, water is strong, avim saluminato, but clouds can block it. Rain. Ruach kasher, guf sovlo. Wind is strong, but body can uphold the wind. Guf kasher, pachad shovlo. Body is strong, but fear breaks it. Pachad kasher, yain mefigyo. Fear is strong, but wine can help it. Yain kasher, shinam mepakachto. Wine is strong, but sleep kishes the effects of wine. When we talk kasher miklam, and death is stronger than all of them, which the comments in evidence, and the guy helps save people from death. The pasuk says, tzedakah tatzil mimavet. Charity is the most powerful thing in the world. This rabbi said, the ways of man are not like the ways of Hashem. A regular man, when a man brings a gift to the king, we're not sure if the king will even accept it. Maybe he won't accept it. Even if he does say that the king will accept it, he may not even get an audience with the king, even if he does accept the gift. God's not like that. A person gives a prutat to a poor person, he gets the Shekhinah's presence. Pasuk said, when Rizal would give a tzedakah, they would pray. Because Pasuk says, after you give charity, you could pray. What does the Pasuk mean? It's referring to Tamid HaChamim who learn Torah and they push away sleep from themselves. Hashem himself graces with his presence in Ramadan. What does it mean that he who gives to the poor, it's as if he lent money to God? If the Pasuk did not say this specifically, we would not be able to tell it. Because as if it's saying, a borrower is a servant lender. It sounds like Chas Shalom that we're lending money to God. Wealth will not help you in the day of anger, and charity saves from death. How come we have two pasuk saying the same things regarding tzedakah saving from death? Pasuk says, one pasuk teaches you that charity saves people from non-natural death. And one pasuk teaches you that it saves you from Gehinam. Which pasuk is referring to Gehinam? Anger. Anger is referring to judgment day. What type of charity saves people from unnatural death? What type of charity saves people from unnatural death? He has to give charity without knowing who he's giving it to, and the poor person has to take it without knowing who he got it from. This high level of charity, giving without knowing who he gave it to, exclusion. Mar Ukva in Masechet Ketubot explains that he used to give tzedakah anonymously, but he knew who he was giving it to. Giving tzedakah without knowing who you're taking it from. Rabbi used to let money fall out of his pockets and he used to take it. They knew who they're taking it from. But both these rabbis were doing great. We have to do next level. Giving and the guy taking without knowing who gave what. How did I do it? The guy go give to the church, the community fund. The question is, I don't know what should a person do to have boys, children. Go give money to the poor people. Famous concept: the person should make sure that his wife has her enjoyment in marital relations. and that will help you have boys. Person should not give money to the community fund. You have a person and pointed over it as honest that you should not give to the community fund. The Gemara says no. When we say that you should give money to the car, the best time to the car to the community fund is when you have a trustworthy guy as an administrator, just like Rabbi Hanan did. What is the strength that Bnei Israel has? The pasuk, the concept of kitisa, giving charity. Amar Bevav, Shalu et Shlomo ben David. They asked Shlomo Melech, "Ad hechen kohash tzedakah? How strong is tzedakah?" Amar Lan, he told them, "Seur uma peresh David Abba. Go see what my father David Melech wrote." A charitable man gets a lot of kavod. What will cause a person to be very honored at the top of the rocks? Because he gave his bread and water to people who needed it. They asked another question. Who will receive the Lam whoever is honored in his old age for his wisdom, not because of his wealth. He does a lot of Torah and not just wealthy, because wealth doesn't mean anything. Like one time this rabbi, Halash Ingid, he went into a coma and he had an out-of-body experience. When he came back, his father asked him, what did you see in the I saw a backwards world. And then the people who are upward in this world are low in the next world. And people who are low in this world are above in the next world. You saw the correct way. The Olam Haba knows how to sort people according to the Zechiyot. But then what about us? How do they appear? Just like are considered important in this world, they also considered important in the next world. Also, I heard them saying, good is the guy who comes into Olam Haba when he remembers what he learns. You also heard it say, whoever got killed by the government is such a kiddush Hashem that nobody can stand in their presence. Man, who's referring to? Even Rabbi Akiva is referring to Rabbi Akiva, who got and his friend and other time who got killed by the government. They were already masters of the kingdom, regardless of the fact that they got martyred. So what's it referring to? I said he's referring to the people of Lud who got killed when they confessed to killing the daughter of the king, even though they didn't do it, but they wanted to say Bnei Israel. These people had a massive Olam Haba. What is the explanation of the pasuk? Why is kindness considered a sin, and what's the difference between nation and nations? Israel is referring to Bnei Israel that gives tzedakah. Kindness of nations is sin. Any type of kindness that or tzedakah that the goyim give, it's considered a sin for them. Because they're only doing it to live longer. It's ulterior motive. They're doing it just to get longer life or be happy with God. And when they do that tzedakah for an ulterior motive, he's not good. It's not considered tzedakah. If someone says that I'm giving tzedakah so that my son could live, or in honor of the mitzvah, which feels I'm giving tzedakah so I should have olam haba. How does this tzedakah more? It's still considered a good. So how come it doesn't work by the goyim? Where it says because that's exactly the difference. Come be Israel, a Jew is still donating to do the right thing. Come by the goy who donates for selfish reasons is considered a sin. Now I'm not a bishul. The second explanation: tzedakah to Israel. The call tzedakah is considered a sin when going to do it. Because they're doing it just to keep their kingdom reign. Right? These pasuk when Nebuchadnezzar did tzedakah, like Daniel told him to do, just so that he could live longer. Now, we have tzedakah to them go Israel, to Israel. it's all considered a sin. They only do it only to make themselves glorified. Whoever is glorifying himself goes into Ginam. Shneimar Zed Yahir Les Shemo Oseh Be'evrat Zadon. And the word anger is only referring to Ginam. Shneimar Yom Evrat Behemahu. We brought the same pasuk earlier. We need explanation of the tzaddik from Modai, which is Rabbi Lazar B'Hamtei Omer. צדקה תורם גוי ישראל תהיו מעמך ישראל גויך בארץ והחסדים חטאת כל צדקה וחסד עשינו חטא להם, referring to a sin for the goyim. שאינו עושים אלא לחרף אותנו בו. They do mitzvot and tzedakah to make us, the Jews, look bad. שנאמר ויבש נעץ השם כאשר דיבר חטאתם בהשם ולא שמעתם לקרוא והיה לכם לדבר הזה. נענה רבי נחוניה בן הקמא ואמר, he said a different explanation. צדקה תורם גוי וחסד לישראל. He says, tzedakah tiromem goy v'chesed. Tzedakah helps the nation and kindness. That's both referring to Israel. Ulumim and the nations, hatat, they only sin. He explained it completely differently. I like Rabbi Yohanan's explanation more than anybody else. Because he gives the and chesed to Bnei Israel and only hatat to the goyim. He says, I like it better than my words and everybody else's explanation. So what's his explanation? Just like Korban Hatat helps Bnei Israel for kapara, kaf tzedakah we call them alamat olam. So too tzedakah helps kapara for the goyim as well. So we didn't like that. Ifra Hurmi is Emad de Shabur Malka. Ifra Hurmi is the king of Shapur, the king Shapur of Iran, as before, his mother as well. He sent 400 golden dinar, massive amount of money to be Amit to give to tzedakah. But look, he didn't want it. She didn't need to commit the Rava. She didn't do the Rava. And Rava took it just to keep peace. So Rabbi Ami heard that Rava took it, he got accepted. We should not have tzedakah from other nations because then they'll get more zechiot than us. But Rava took it because he didn't want the problems, they might attack us. Rabbi Ami, how come Rabbi didn't accept it because of peace? Because Rabbi Ami felt that we should just give it to the goyim and not give it to the Jewish poor people. But Rabbi did end up giving it to the non-Yehud poor people, and Rabbi Ami still got upset that the Lo Sembu come in because he didn't know that he gave it to those people. He thought he was giving it to Jewish people, and he didn't want the goyim to get the zechiyot. So that brother says, "Amaru alav al binyamin hatzadik." This tzaddik was in charge of the community fund. One time a woman came to him in time of famine. And she asked for sustenance. He swore, the community fund is empty. If you don't save me, me and my 7 sons will die. Therefore, he got up and he ended up giving her money with his own money. One time, after a little bit, this rabbi was starting to, we got sick, he almost died. They said to Hashem, the angels said to Hashem, you said that whoever saves one soul, it's as if he saves the whole world. But Binyamin, who saved a woman and 7 sons, he should die when young. Because of that argument, they tore up the Gzar and he's spared. They ended up adding 22 years to his life. Amen.